Just a couple hours ago, social media was ignited by Arsenal fans in a huge panic. No Declan Rice. Oh my goodness, the sky is falling. What are we going to do? Oh, and here I am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, James? Because I can hear myself now. I ruined it. Damn it. Let's go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
An absolute rookie mistake by me. As I was doing the intro, I actually left another window open where I was editing, once again, the thumbnail of the show, which earlier in the day started off like this. And then it went through various iterations, but here to help me debrief and discuss that Arsenal win. Can't wait to get stuck into it. Mr. James Johnston and you, squaddies, let's rock and roll. Woo! What a shit intro. But what a great result. At ease, everyone.
Yes! Yes!
Wow. Good evening, squaddies. Hello to everyone in the house, especially our Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels. Make sure. What can you say? Well, we're going to say it all right now, Tammy. Don't you worry about it. Good evening to Steve. And let's see if Arsenal Mannix cheered up a bit. A good win. It was a must win. Only managed to catch the game from second half. That's the time to catch this game. Nice goals by Trossard and Jesus. As for Gyökeres, he scores nothing. Jesus comes on straight away. That's it. I'm going to paint a bit of a different picture, as you can all imagine, and I'm sure I'll get pelters for it. But it is my philosophy, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with each and every one of you. Jay says, let's see. Anne says, Saliba is unbelievably lazy. Here comes the nitpicking. Druck says, well, might as well give them their consolation prize. Tammy says, Big Gabby's her man of the match. Jay says, not sure why Arteta always wants to lock up shop with 4-0 in front and have momentum. Keep going. Don't sit back and do. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. Poor Mikel Arteta. Deli says, revenge is sweet. Del Hitchman, says, revenge is sweet. It certainly is. For those who are at the Emirates tonight, big round of applause to you. The home fans really made themselves feel loud this evening. We'll keep reading your messages, but we'll get stuck into the post-game show immediately with what we do at the very, very beginning of each and every one. And that, Mr. James Johnston, is discuss the starting lineup. The world, as I was saying in my intro, was falling. Social media went into a total meltdown. And I posted, we can't brag about having a big squad, and then when we need to use it, cry wolf, basically is what I was saying. Trust your players, trust your teammates, and all will be well. James, what did you make of the starting lineup when you saw it go up?
Well, just first and foremost, it's not a good day if your name's James and you talk about Arsenal, is it? Poor Gunner Vlog. I thought I was getting cooked the last couple of weeks. He's took a generational roasting today. Old Gunner Vlog, bless him.
Just because he revealed that Declan Rice was injured.
Yeah, there's people revoke your credentials. How dare you give a game plan away before the game? I was like, oh, I'm like taking the heat off me today, Mr. McNicholas. I'm like, thank you very much. I'll let someone else have a go on the old coals instead of me. No, look, when that lineup comes out and that information is passed on, what else did people expect? You know, would I rather have an Eze or even a backing of a Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield? Yes, but that's not what the manager wants. The manager wants to play Marino. He trusts Marino. You know, that midfield three played together at Real Sociedad. Okay, they had a 0 win percentage as a three in the midfield for Real Sociedad. However, we ain't Real Sociedad. This is the Arsenal. And, you know, done the job. Like people have put here, game of two halves, 100%. to be a fly on that wall at half-time to hear what was said.
Yeah.
Because it must have been a generational half-time team talk, because just straight away it was like Zubimendi come out, and I don't think he had a bad first half, Sophie, but he was like Duracell second. He was he was just smothering everything.
Hold the mayo. We're doing starting lineup right now. Okay,
Yeah.
and we'll do first half. Okay, so let's get stuck into. I agree with you on the starting lineup. I really thought it was, just so exhausting. Some Arsenal fans, and this is going to be a very quick couple of points on the negatives here, because, like, every single time we've seen it before. If Saka couldn't play in the past, the world was falling. Saliba and Big Gabby, especially out together, the world's falling. Declan Rice, the world's falling. But you really do have to trust that the next man up is always going to be ready, especially in a Mikel Arteta team. Now, they may not be as talented, but they're going to be prepared. And hopefully it's going to be one of those games and one of those days where their teammates around them also have a good game of football. So not everyone's shitting the bed on the same day. And I thought they all stepped up. They really did. So let's just brush over the first half a little bit, shall we, James? By the way, there are reports which James told me and some other squaddies are saying, Thibaut Pesque, Emery went down the tunnel without shaking Arteta's hand. Classy.
Yeah, he runs up and down the line when they win in the last minutes at his ground. But yeah, when he gets pumped, and I use that again with a capital P, pumped, he don't stick about. Very, And I'm not
Salty.
one of these. I'm not one of these that digs him out. We've said it before, Sophie, when we've spoken about it on here. I think he wasn't given the opportunities and what have you due to people that were upstairs that have rightfully been kicked out of our club. But I think there's a lot of revisionism on him. It wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He got us to a European final, which, being born in 1991 and a 34-year-old male, that was the worst game I've ever seen Arsenal play, that final in Baku. And I said there and then, you were brought in to win this and get us in the Champions League. You failed. I'd have sacked him that night. But he carried on. And then, he was rightfully sacked. Sadly, the guy couldn't handle the big egos that he had in that dressing room and the big egos that he had upstairs. There's so many people that are like, yeah, but you'd swap him though, wouldn't you? I'm like, no, not at this current. Why would I want Unai Emery back at Arsenal now? Just because he's won things in the past. This debate that always happens whenever we play Villa is just really stupid and pointless. I don't understand it. I'm like, he's good where he is now, and our manager's doing the business where he is at the moment. So I'm like, why does this keep coming up?
Because there's always going to be comparisons, and it makes it much more interesting, the narrative this season, because Aston Villa, who we talked about, how long is their challenge going to last? They're a couple of injuries away from a bit of a disaster, and also exhaustion for them because their squad is thin. But the comparisons are always going to come because Emery took Arsenal to a European final, albeit we got our asses handed to us, granted with apathetic players. And then Arteta, who has, took over from him. So and now with the competition this season, it makes for a good narrative when really there are only a few flying around in the Premier League this season. Angela says, let's read some more comments. Angela says, interesting that today we were much more left-sided than ever. Trossard was superb. So glad to see this variation. Let's get a few more here. AJ says, I thought Zubi and Odie balled out today. And 235 said Zubimendi was superb today, off the ball especially. Thibaut says Odegaard, Leo, Gabriel, absolutely immense. Kika says, has it been proven today that we need Gabby more than Rice? We're going to get onto that. Moon2 says Odegaard, Trossard, Gabriel, best players on the pitch. Demsek, that's some statement, taking the informed team down 4-1 without a key player. Peter W says Gabriel and Trossard the best tonight. Mifcat says, What a wonderful way to finish off the year. Loving it. Happy New Year to the Arsenal crew. Okay. Well, joining us live from the Emirates Stadium right now, our roving reporter, known to you kids as Albert JTV in the house. Albert, welcome from the Emirates. Talk to us.
I know. I'll talk to you. Firstly, it's absolutely bloody freezing. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You're on a bit of a delay. Yes. So just listen for a second. We can hear you. You're on a bit of a delay. So you speak. Tell us what you saw. We won't interrupt because of the delay. Go for it, Albert.
Right. Let me pause. Okay. As you can hear me now. Yeah. Sophie, man. James. Big up to the chat as well. Smash the likes, please. Subscribe to the Highbury Squad. First, it's absolutely freezing. But no, you know what? The first half, coming into the game, I knew it was going to be tough. Like, Villa are a good side. They're good. They're on a very good run of form. You know, the history books of the last 2 visits to the Emirates hasn't gone our way for obvious reasons or multiple reasons. And we missed Rice in the first half. They were bypassed us way too easy. Tielemans, Rodgers, Amadou Onana. It was too easy. We didn't really get too much rhythm in the game. And again, it's the same kind of things we talk about on the Highbury Squad and other podcasts on James's channel, my channel. Just move that ball a bit quicker. We recycle the ball so much. We make it easy for teams to set up against us. And we didn't really create anything in the first half. I think the Gyökeres header, Trossard had a couple of shots. I thought he was our most effective player in the first half, Trossard. And it was tough in the first half, Sophie and James. And the second half, I don't know what was said. Better intensity, better patterns of play. And I don't know if you guys noticed it or people in the chat, but I thought he was a lot more direct, unbelievably. I don't think I've seen that with an Arsenal side. We got Victor a bit more in the game and we bypassed the midfield a little bit more in the second half and we just dominated them. We completely dominated them. We took them completely out of their game. I think missing Onana for them in the second half was key for us to progress the ball a bit more quicker, but complete chalk and cheese first half and the second half, 100%.
Albert, let's talk a little bit about the first half. And here's where I was going to go with the squaddies, and I want to get your take on this. And I've been saying this, I said it on the TalkSport Sports Bar last night, I've been saying it on this show, and I've been saying it on other shows that I've been on. Accept who this Arsenal team is, and we saw it tonight. Arsenal are a blue-collar team who like to drink champagne sometimes. In the first half, the blue-collar Arsenal laid down the foundation for what they wanted this game to be. And then in the second half, champagne, cufflinks, Arsenal took over and absolutely won the game. In my mind, and you can come at me or not, squaddies and everyone, Victor Gyökeres served a purpose for blue-collar Arsenal in the first half. And then when we took over the game in the second half, I think we were still 2-0 up when he came on. But then Champagne Arsenal took over as well. Odegaard's passed down the middle to Zubimendi. Everyone was a different player in the second half. This is how you're going to win the title. Throw blue-collar Arsenal out there for some stability and then let Champagne Arsenal take over and get you goals. Albert.
Yeah, no, Sophie, great point, because you've spoken about this before. And I think if we look at how far we are in the season now, and how Arsenal have come into games, how they've started games, how they've managed to just get over the line or scrape a win here or there. I think that's going to be the case for the rest of the season. I'm not saying that as an Arsenal fan, you're going to love the performances week in, week out, because I've watched some games and I've struggled to stay awake and want to bring my Kindle out. But it's the way Mikel's got us playing. And the point's been made many, many times before, and it is really relevant in terms of, we talk about he played under Wenger, he played under David Moyes, but you can see the makeup of this Arsenal side. Yes, we've got some fantastic attacking talent and elements that we should be a bit more progressive. However, I think today's game, for me, Sophie and James, you probably could have come back in and people in the chat. I think that's what you're going to see more of Arsenal this season, or for the remainder of the season, if we're going to get this league title over the line. Like I said, that second half in particular, I can't remember a game where Arsenal went a little bit more direct. And the thing is, we can do that. There's not a law that we can't go direct. Yes, we got passes in the team with Odegaard and Zubimendi, but the thing is, it's a good to see that element of, yes, we can play teams off the park, don't get me wrong. And I think for me, before I shut, I think the most pleasing thing for me is it wasn't a game where we're talking after a Highbury Squad podcast where, Arsenal, we got the job done, but, it could have been a little bit better and we scraped a 2-1 or a 1-0. We finally put a team to the sword. And they're a very, very good side. They've not lost an 11, I believe, before today. And if you believe what the pundits say, whether you listen to 5 Live or to TalkSport, Aston Villa were in a title race. And we took them to the cleaners today. And it wasn't a fluke. To be honest, I'm a bit annoyed we conceded the goal. We could have got 5 or 6. But Sophie, you know what? I've been waiting for that kind of result for us for the season for quite a long time. But I like the mixture of play today, especially in the second half, where we went a bit more direct. Victor got in the game a bit more. We released the ball a bit quicker. And now I want to see more of that. But like you said, Sophie, at the top of the question you asked me, get used to performances like this season. And if it gets us over the line in May, we'll be having a different conversation and a more positive talk at the end of the season.
Albert, we don't want you to freeze to death out there, but I absolutely loved everything about this game. The first half was a stinker. I was definitely, texting with James and some others saying, oh, this is just a stinker. However, it goes back to like the blue collar concept I'm going to run with until the rest of the season and annoy the hell out of everyone because I so believe it to be true. The atmosphere, I want to talk to you in the stadium. Were fans getting frustrated with Victor Gyökeres at all, or do you think they were behind him and supporting him? Of course, it's a difficult pill to swallow. As soon as you come off within 55 seconds, your replacement gets a goal. And Jesus deserved that goal. He's come back and he's played well. He's just been missing the goal to really separate the two. But what did you think of the support for Gyökeres from the home fans tonight?
Yeah, great question, sir. Great question. I was sat lower tier, so where I think that he was right back to Villa. Was it Bogard? I was sat lower tier, like row 12, so that's where I was sat. So I had quite a good view. Yeah, so for I was sitting, I can't speak for everybody else, but there were a couple of fans sort of behind me or either side that were kind of got to hold up the ball a bit better and just got to make better runs. It's nothing that we haven't heard from sitting on the Highbury Squad or being guests on other podcasts. I can only speak for myself in terms of what I heard. But there was a lot more encouragement for him in the second half. And I think when he sort of had the header in the first half, which a little bit more of a flick on it, and he'd have put us 1-0 up at the time. But I thought he was better in the second half. And I heard a lot more and a bit more encouragement in terms of Gyökeres. In terms of the strikers we got, Sophie, in regards to, Hayes is a different type of striker to Gyökeres. And of course, it helped when you come on and score within 2 seconds of coming on.
It was great, though. I love it. And I thought, that's what you want to see from subs having an immediate impact. Is there anything else you'd like to let us know from the experience today, Albert, so you don't freeze to death in the middle of North London? He may have frozen, actually. He looked like he froze for a second there.
No, I'm listening, Sophie. I'm listening.
What else do you want the squaddies to know about today?
I want to mention 2 players in particular. So when you get off this podcast today, right, or when you speak to Kevin Hatchard next, give him a verbal handshake from me, man. I love Hincapie. I think for the time he's been at the club, he's just I think going forward he can play a centre back, but at left back he offers us a different option, man. He goes beyond the outside forward. He goes beyond the strikers. He gives us that whip. And he's going to get better and better. That combination with potentially him and Gabriel will be fantastic. But I have to give a special shout out to Leo Trossard. I thought he was our bright spark in the first half, personally. I thought he was brilliant in the second half. We got the goal. He's the one player, not just finishing ability, but he's the one player for me in that Arsenal side. 20-25 yards out from goal, he will pull the trigger. No doubt about whatsoever. But yeah, special shout out to those 2 players, but in particular Trossard. I thought he was excellent. And if you didn't get man in the match, I don't know who got it. I'll be very, very surprised, man. But yeah, those 2 players for me are on the single match. I thought it was bloody brilliant.
According to James Johnston, the man of the match went to Big Gabby.
No problem with that. No problem. No problem. Yeah, so if you know what, can I have a quick shout? Sorry. I think definitely with not just because he got the goal, Gabriel, but just, I mean, he was scored again even after he scored. Just his leadership and you know what? More so, one word I'd say with him, it is his presence, man. We've missed that guy 1000%. Yes, we can talk about squad depth till the cows come home, but don't tell me we don't miss that guy. He is a phenomenon, Sophie James. Absolute
Brilliant
phenomenon.
Albert, brilliant stuff from you. Thank you so much for joining us live from the Emirates. You need to go to more games if we're going to play second halves like that, mate.
I know, I left it long, Sam. I left it long. I couldn't help it. But I love you, James and Sophie, man. Smash a like, people.
Thanks a lot, Albert. Thanks for joining us live from the Emirates there. Follow Albert at AlbertJTV. We're going to let him go home and get warm. And Albert made some good points as well. James sent me this, which was the passing in the first half, James.
Yeah,
this is what
Mikel Merino's pass map, yeah. Which was why. Now I don't want to upset Abisola if he's in the chat, because you know he called me a reactionary critic and mean when last week I said Merino had a bad game against Brighton. When if you looked at it, he was the one that got the ball through his legs that led to their goal, and then he was also quite badly defensively on the chance for the other player. But hey, we'll walk away from that. We'll judge him on today's game. You put up his pass map there. One pass into the box to Gyökeres was all that was on there. The rest are either sideways or backwards. But when I say I want more production from my 8, I'm a bad guy. I'm mean. I'm awful. I'm a horrible man. So, you know, the chat can judge for themselves as always. But you know, if Declan Rice is going to be down and out, you need a better player in there than him. For me, I'm afraid this guy is an auxiliary forward option. He is not good enough on the ball or with his mobility to play in that 8. And Papoose, great point. Yeah, he does that. But when you look at that first half, okay, second half was great, but he was very lucky. He was very lucky to stay on the pitch.
He was. It wasn't
lucky to stay on a pitch.
It wasn't his best game. He played a little bit of that blue collar football, but I think took it to the extreme. So yeah. and we looked better when he came off, and exactly. He was playing handcuffed a little bit and probably should have been subbed a little bit earlier. Right, let's get stuck into all the positives and the second half. If you're listening, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're in here for the first time. The second half has to start with what you said at the top of the show a little bit and what we exchange messages. And that is at halftime, you want your manager to have an effect on the team because the team and the players were not having an effect on themselves in the first half at all. There were moments, Trossard can walk away with his head held up high in that first half. Gyökeres much better than he has been, getting himself into positions. The only thing he didn't get was the goal. And the defense, I think, was solid. But in that first half, it was the midfield was really, truly the weak link. You get to the second half, Mikel Arteta, whatever he said at halftime, sends the same players out, suffer the pain a little, try and provide a solution. And boy, did the solutions come one after the other after the other. And it started with Big Gabby. And the return of Big Gabby is so huge in so many different ways. His presence on the pitch, his vocalness, his physicality. You also saw a confident Saliba tonight, even though this was offside, taking the ball off Ollie Watkins' feet, seeing the two of them together. It was kind of annoying that we conceded at the very end, because we limited, even though they had the control in the midfield in the first half, we limited their shots on target. They had a couple of opportunities, but seeing these two back together again in the manner in which we did, and Big Gabby coming up trumps for the set piece, James.
Yeah, awesome. And it's such a funny goal as well, because you got Martinez there in the goal, and he's trying to, he's all over his shirt. He's tugging away at him. And then he drops it, and it hits Gabriel on the way. I mean, you could rightfully look at that and go, that might even be a Martinez own goal. It might not. you know, it might have hit Gabriel, then hit him again. But I'm glad it's been given to him at the moment. We'll take it before, you know, I know that the panel can sometimes review and change it, but at the moment it's still a Gabriel goal. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, just over the moon again, you know, set piece delivery without Declan Rice being in there. And it was a Trossard one, I believe. So yeah, happy days.
So it really, that first goal in the moment as well, was in the 48th minute and it was perfectly timed. Remember, James, I said I want to get into good habits, not bad habits. You know, we started conceding late in games, but we went into this good habit vibe of scoring quickly in the second half. We did that again today. The second goal was going to be everything in this match. I felt really confident once the first one went in. I thought that we would bring it home. You could see the players started enjoying the game. They were enjoying playing the game. The second goal is exactly what we've been wanting Martin Odegaard to do forever and ever and ever. And what did we do? We split the defense with a pass down the middle. Now, Zubi gets onto that, a great run. We're wanting him to do that. I think the first half, again, was testing the waters with regards to an Aston Villa team that we suffered against just a few weeks ago. And you feel a game out, and smart players like Zubi Mendy feel games out. And in the second half, he was immense. It was two contrasting performances. Gyökeres also peeled off, making the space for Zubimendi, but the pass from Odegaard, I want to talk about the captain first. In the second half, he took over the game and absolutely bossed it. It was brilliant, and this is the Odegaard that we love to see.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the comments earlier said, are you going to mention him? And is he still finished? No one on this show said Martin Odegaard's finished.
Ever.
Yeah. I hate to, you know, go back to it. I said only last week that this guy can't just be the best player in the Arsenal team. He can be the best player in the league, in my opinion. And he's had 2 games on the spin now where he's got a goal and an assist. So his numbers, like I said, Sophie, I need to see the numbers go up. They've done it. They've done it. Shut me up for this week, at least, for today, because they've produced. Brilliant. What a ball. And what a bit. That's a goal that you sit there and go, do you know what? The Arsenal teams of old that scored goals like that would sit there. I saw Vieira in the crowd tonight. Dua Lipa was taking selfies with her friend. She looked a bit bored. So thank God Vieira and Rice and George Graham or what have you could sit there and enjoy. It was a classic, classy Arsenal goal. And it was really well taken as well. You know, that's your number 6. Your number 6 is finishing better than your striker that you paid for in the summer. It was a really
but James,
lovely goal.
I'm starting to believe Kenny Ken's assumption of Gyökeres. He's a decoy. I feel like at
God
some
bless Kenny. I love Kenny.
We love Kenny. I feel like at some point, Mikel Arteta is going to say, you know, God, if we win the league at the end of the season, was he really a decoy? And, you know, agent Mikel takes his sunglasses off.
One thing, just to slightly backpedal, when we'll come back, and it'll be so slight. His box movement tonight, compared to the last few games, he's seen that there's a Gabby Jesus on the bench and a Havertz on the bench breathing down his neck. He was so much better. The diving header, I'll go, well, that's a bit hard, you know, on that technique and everything. The first header, to not get that on target, he should have got that. And he knows that himself. But yeah, his box movement today, and I know I'm clutching, and people are going to come in the comments and go, oh, you two are, you know, they called us Gyökeres' lawyer, didn't they, last week? So
yeah, I mean, look, I think that it was, even though he didn't score, it was better. But
yes.
Just to go back now to Odegaard and Zubimendi in that combination, it was absolute class. And
like you said as well, he was brilliant all that second half, Odegaard, like running the game. Because, and was it a big plus, Onana going off? Of course it was. But that's the things. You got to react when things go in your favour, capitalise on them.
Exactly.
And he done what he needed to do, and that was like Odegaard of 2-3 years ago.
Well, what's
running,
the difference?
Pressing, commanding. I loved it.
James, what's the difference too between us trying to adjust without Declan in the first half to then and Aston Villa taking advantage of that, and then Onana going off and Aston Villa having to adjust and us taking advantage of that? That's what the game is all about. You take what's in front of you, and when it's not in front of you, you've got to find a way to take it. And today we took it from them. We took their football soul. They were dying out there. They couldn't wait for that match to be over with. They knew more of a wave was going to come after that second goal went in. And it certainly did. And our fans in the stadium and around the world had to be patient for a couple of VAR checks as well. Both went in our favour. But the third goal was probably the most deserved goal of the day, barring another play that we're going to talk about in just a second. But Trossard was just brilliant. I mean, he was immense. When I was thinking about a player to put on the thumbnail, yeah, you could say that, you know, the player that belongs to Jesus, or there's a few players that belong to Jesus in our team. The game was already won by the time that goal came, even though the goal for Jesus is important and fundamental for him, for the team. What Trossard did today, if Odegaard took over the second half, Trossard impacted the game the most of any Arsenal player. Zubimendi and Odegaard joined the Trossard party in the second half. But again, gets an important third goal, was trying to make everything happen in the first half. Maybe one of the best January signings ever. Maybe one of the best investments this Arsenal team has made ever. And if we do go on to win one of the big ones, we'll look back on the Trossard signing as one of the most important in this entire process and chapter of Arsenal Football Club, James.
Yeah, I love the guy. I mean, arguably our best forward this season, easily. For the year, highest scoring forward. I think it was 19 goal contributions in the year of 2025, 10 goals and 9 assists. And for me, I know a lot of people might go, oh, are you really calling against Aston Villa a big game? I think with everything going on and how we've been playing in the last few weeks, and then everything that happened before the match and everything, it was very, very heated this tonight. It was a big, big game. You know, we said it at the weekend. You have to win midweek. And he is our best big game player for me. Whenever the stakes are high, he is the man. He performs when it is the crunch for me. You know, I know in American sports they like to say the clutch players and what have you. This guy for me is superb, and he was my man of the match. I know people will go, oh, I'll go on an assist and what have you, but I thought even in the first half, like you said earlier, him, Nkapie and Saliba were the only bright lights. I thought he was great. I really did. I mean, they were the most informed team in the league going into tonight.
Like
Albert said,
yeah.
What was it? 11 wins in a row. Everyone's lapping them up, and they probably thought, "Oh, it's going to be curtain." You know, the world wanted to see curtains on Arsenal's title charge tonight.
Oh, they did. They did.
And we went, no, not today.
I think you guys would be proud. You'd be proud of me because the sports bar last night was with Jamie O'Hara and Jermaine Pennant, and they both loathe Arsenal for different reasons. And there was a moment where, you know, Jamie does his, come on, Soph, you guys got to go win it. You got, he's classic, by the way. And I just wasn't having it. And I said, you guys want Arsenal to be something they're not. The great thing about this is the manager and the players know who they are. And I think some of the overreaction to the results where we won games and should have won games and lost the one to Villa goes back to my analogy with Martinelli for so long. I was asking all the questions. Why? It's because of what Mikel wants him to be, not us. It's the same thing right now with Victor Gyökeres. He's doing what Mikel wants him to do, not what we want him to do. Jesus is doing exactly what Mikel wants him to do when he comes on. Cause a little bit of chaos, hold up the ball, you know, off the ball, the movement, all of it. There was, and I mentioned on the show, I said, why can't they all contribute? Why can't Victor Gyökeres be who he is in this Arsenal team? Forget about who he was, right? And let's pray that one day he'll become something else, just like Jesus went through ups and downs. Don't forget, guys, he can't score. He's not a goal scorer. Kai Havertz, he's a donkey. He's this, he's that. Then you get the, 65 million down the drain song. And what I said was, there was a team called Manchester United who had two players named Solskjaer and Teddy Sheringham in the treble-winning side. They wanted to play week in, week out. They didn't. There was two other players that were banging in the goals for that Manchester United team. This is what we've wanted. All of these players can contribute at different times. I'm not pitting them against each other. I'm just grateful they're all in the team and they can serve a purpose for the manager in any given game at any given moment. And tonight was a perfect example of Jesus not just coming on and people saying, oh, well, he changed the movement. No, he scored a goal. That is really important for him and for the team. And so Man United are never winning the treble without Solskjaer and Sheringham. And I think we need to be open and embrace who this Arsenal team is. They know who they are. I think it's time some of the fans got to know their team this season too. It's not always going to be sexy football, but we do have players who can come in and come on, James, now and make a difference and contribute, to the side.
Yeah, and I think other than Arsenal fans themselves, I think it's unprecedented, the injuries that we're having to deal with. I really do, Sophie. I don't know any other club that's had so many and what have you. And we can all look at it and say, well, it's because of this and it's because of that. But I don't want to get in the blame game tonight because you've won 4-1. That's not what this show is going to be about. There's no point doing that. Doesn't achieve anything. But the way that this team adjusts on the fly and the manager has had to adjust on the fly has to be commended. It has to. I don't think people give it enough praise, Sophie, other than Arsenal fans. Again tonight, that's another second half. That's another different variation of a back four that he's had to play with.
Mm-hmm.
There's no consistent. There's no consistency with it, and yeah, it needs to be talked about more. But yeah, what I love as well, Soph, Jesus has that top on underneath because he knows he's scoring a goal today. Like how confident. This guy has been out with an ACL for God knows how long, and he's put a top on tonight because he knows he's going to score and take his shirt off. What? Again, this is one of the players that has won this title countless times over and over again, and he wanted to come to a team and push the team on to win one. And you saw the way they all embraced him as well. It was class. And the goal as well was class. And I'll tell you what else he'll be over the moon about is he absolutely whipped it against an RG in goal as well. As a Brazilian, he's going to love that. I mean, not that Emmy's people's favourite person in the world, but for a Brazilian to do that to an RG, he's going to love that tonight. He's going to absolutely love that. You know what? I might start going Bible classes because there's clearly something in it. There's clearly something in it. I mean, him, Timber, all of them. I'm like, they must do a prayer group or something at
they do. They have like a Bible
really?
reading.
Okay.
I think so.
Oh, brilliant. Well,
yeah.
Jot me in.
It was really just a great moment. It really was. The crowd response, the fans, to see a player who's had so much adversity to overcome. And there are moments in seasons, it's not necessarily that we're going to go splurge, no matter how excited some people got from the press conference the other day about the January transfer window. We've had Ben Jacobs and Sammy Mockbell on here saying they don't expect Arsenal to go heavy into, January. And when you see players, our January transfer window, guys, is Kai Havertz coming back and Jesus coming back and Big Gabby coming back. That is like 3 signings that are going to be fundamentally important to the rest of this season. Now, just hope and pray they all stay fit, they come back, and Mikel is able to manage their loads as he should. But that's January for us. And the timing is great. And the fourth goal in the 78th minute, it was joyous. It really was. And it was wonderful to see him take the goal in the manner in which he did with so much confidence. I'm not sure he was wearing the shirt because he knew he'd score, but just like a child of Jesus, I think he was wearing the shirt, praying, James, that he would score, praying.
I think he knew. I think he was like, I'm at some point tonight, I'm going to be brought on and I'm scoring. And I like that. I love that you've got the brass to go. I'm going to put a top on underneath, and then I'm going to score. I'm going to take my top off to show the one underneath. I think that's amazing.
Well, there's a lot of
love it.
There's a lot of love for him, and of course, fans buzzing. John says, "What a result! Absolutely buzzing."
Quick one, Sophie.
Yeah.
After that tonight, you playing him? You starting him at Bournemouth?
No.
That was the big one that was the big one that I was going to ask Albert as well.
No.
Like, would you take Gyökeres out at Bournemouth?
No, because I think even though Gyökeres didn't get the goal, I think that he played a better game. And by the way, you guys, I just wanted to get the negative first half out of the way. And sometimes because of what players have done for you in the past, they get away with what's happening in the present, and you hope for a little change in the future. But the finger shouldn't be pointed at Gyökeres today at all. He had a decent game. He didn't score. I don't think that there were, I hate to say it, but I thought Saka was so poor today. But he's afforded himself the opportunity to be poor and be given grace, even though there are some Arsenal fans who are being very critical of Bukayo Saka. I felt like in this game, you know, when you just get a sense that Villa don't have it, they just were off it. They didn't have it. They were a bit scary in the first half, but they weren't like, you know, the energetic Villa team that played us in their park that just kept going one wave after another, after another, after another. I would have subbed Saka off sooner. I would have put Madueke on with a half hour to go, 2-0 up. And I guess what I'm trying to say is we're not killing any players. We're not criticizing. We're giving our opinion. Today, for me, Saka was the worst player of the starting 11.
Yeah.
And
agreed. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is he's trying to do. He's trying to put square pegs in round holes a little bit. And I get it. Right. But again, because
I mean, I don't have all of the numbers in front of me, but he had 26. I know he had 26 touches today. And that for Saka is extremely, you know, he's definitely got like 50 plus in the last couple of games easily. But like Albert and some of the chat were saying earlier, and you mentioned it earlier yourself as well, I think Villa, especially Unai Emery, was like, you don't give them anything on that right-hand side. And he probably thought Arsenal are so predictable that they don't use the left-hand side. And for tonight, and I don't know if that's because Hincapie actually overlaps as well at left-back, which is a revelation. Like instead of, and I love Calafiori, don't get me wrong, I want to, you know, like I mentioned last week, Calafiori this season has come on tenfold. He's been leaps and bounds. He's been amazing, but he will always go into that central, he will always make that central run, whereas Hincapie goes around the outside. Which is great on the left. Miles does the same. Miles will want to come in there, and that's instructed. However, for some reason, and I don't know if it's that Mikel trusts Hincapie to do it, or Hincapie's like, no, I'm doing what I want to do, which if he's defining orders, then fair play because it works. But I don't know how long that will keep going for. But yeah, he does go around Trossard. And I think that really made a difference. I think that shocked Villa a bit as well, because then, you know, they're like, oh my God, they're coming down our left as well. And they can play from the left as well.
Do you know what I like about it? It's a great point, James, as well, because, you know, we've seen exhaustively the Odegaard to Saka, Odegaard to Saka, Odegaard to Saka. But it was great to see the left outlet because Calafiori and Trossard have developed a really good relationship together, and they've been great together. Last season, let's not forget, Miles did a great job in that position with injuries. But to see another player come in like Nkapie and provide a different type of, still be effective, but stylistically a little bit, different. He definitely looks less chaotic than Calafiori. He has a nice touch on the ball, but it's great that, again, it's cut and paste, plug and play, right? Next man up, who's ready? And they're proving to be ready when they come in. And I don't think you could say that about some of our Arsenal teams, especially our bench of the past, James. So it's a great point about that left side. So to roundabout go back to your question, I would start Victor and give him the confidence again, because I want us to don't rush with Jesus. Don't rush with him starting. There's a game coming up on the 8th of January against Liverpool. And I think ease him in. If anything, if you want to start him against Liverpool. But I would roll the dice the way it is. Maybe he gets another goal coming off the bench. He's been out for a really long time. And considering how unlucky we've been with injuries, I would hate for us to start rushing players. Havertz should start. Jesus should start. No. It's working the way it is for a lot of the reasons that we've said tonight. Different styles. I feel like there's a plan B going on now.
Yeah, could be.
Huh?
Could be. I mean, there were a lot of people in the comments coming for me saying, look, James, when everyone's back,
stop worrying about them, James.
We will cook. We will cook.
Stop worrying about these guys. You just do you and they'll do them, and you can agree to disagree, right? I like the way you cooked it up at the beginning of the show against Brighton. And again, I think you're making really good points about Merino, the left side. Let's talk a little bit about what else you saw in the game, second half that was so different. Was it speed? Was it the subs? Was it just, what else have we not talked about that you spotted that you want to bring up, James?
Yeah, again, I like I said, I'd love to have been a fly on the wall to hear what was said at halftime. I really would, because the energy level just it was insane. But I mean, Zubimendi is a guy that we've all said, look, the amount of minutes that this guy's being played, and yet he still come out flying like that and everything. It was just incredible. Really, really was. I think subs wise, obviously Jesus and everything, and when Norgard, and we've mentioned this, Sophie. I thought, for me, I gave him the man of the match, didn't I, when we played Ballas?
Yes.
I'm like, you got to find a way of getting this guy in, because he's an experienced, he's been at Brentford, but he was a captain. He was a big, influence there, and I think he can be a big influence on this team. There's still a lot of them in there that are very, very young, and he's an old head. And you mentioned as well about January and transfers and what have you. And I see a lot of people saying about younger play. Look at Merino today. Basically, everyone's going, can we find a younger version of what Declan Rice gives us? If something, because, if you're looking at single points of failure, and I know tonight went great and everything, you'd go, if we lose Declan Rice, there is nobody that can replicate. I mean, Gabriel as well is a great point. If you lose him, but you've seen that Nkapie, Calafiori, or however, that they can go in centre half and they can do. Can they do the job that Gabriel does? No, but they can still do a job. For me, there is nobody that can replicate what Rice gives. So you're thinking and looking, going, can I find a player that is basically a younger version of you, or can replicate you? And I thought that would potentially be Miles Lewis-Skelly. I thought that he could maybe be that guy, because he's very, very strong. I think a lot of people underestimate how strong he is. But yeah, I think, as well as maybe getting another younger player potentially, I wouldn't mind another experienced head, Sophie. I mean, I saw earlier, and people are probably going to go, wow, James, really? But I'll throw this out there, Sophie. I saw earlier that Leeds are looking at buying Ruben Neves. And I was just like, how are Leeds? Now, fair play if Leeds can afford it and do it. But Ruben Neves, for me, when he was at Wolves, I was just like, how is this guy not playing for a club like us, Man United, you know? And I'm like, if he wants to come back from Saudi Arabia, he's 28 years old. He was a captain at Wolves, elite level set pieces, which, you know, can score. He used to bang your goals in for fun when he was at Wolves and everything. I'm like, would you accept a squad option at Arsenal? Yes. So I'm thinking to myself, take him off Leeds if he's available, and you can, you know, I think Ruben Neves, if he's happy to be a part of a squad, I'd be over the moon with someone like Ruben Neves, Sophie.
I mean, yes. I mean, has anything been taken out of his game? Not playing super competitively for a little bit. You know, a player hopefully doesn't lose his talent. I get what you're saying. Also, we have to really have one eye on Manchester City getting Semenyo. Is he going to fall into place quickly at Manchester City? Is he going to need time? Is he going to be overwhelmed by being coached by Pep Guardiola? Is he a player that just doesn't care about stuff like that?
I think he slots straight in, don't he? Like you said earlier about plug and play. I think Semenyo just breezes straight into it. And I hate it. But he just slots right in there for me.
So if you're talking about, you know, they're going to get Semenyo, they have a couple of injuries too. We've got players coming back from injury. I'm not sure that we need to go into the market and spend the kind of money that some fans may want us to spend.
Oh, like we said, people going, oh, Elliot Anderson, Wharton. No way.
Well, not now.
You're not doing 80s and 100 millions in a Jan. We're not doing that. This is you're getting either a young sort of player, you know, basically what you originally thought Lokonga was going to be, or you're spending similar sort of money on an older player in that role. And I know he got a bit burnt with the Lokonga thing, so he could be a bit, why would I go out there and get another younger one again? But I don't think you can think like that. And I think somebody that can come in there, because, you know, we're still competing on 4 fronts. Let's get that right. And I remember in the Invincibles, and I know whatever happened with Reyes towards the end, and, you know, God rest his soul and everything, but Reyes gave that team a push. Reyes did push that team on when needed.
Yeah. There's definitely, and I think those players coming back from injury are going to be able to do that. But agree with you, a cheeky bid for someone, if you can get them for good money, that does no harm. Knowing that City have and are going to strengthen their team as well. A quote from the gaffer: "We needed to get a better performance collectively and individually, and we needed to show a mentality winning in the last minute." That sounds like a weird point.
And do you know what as well?
Are you making this up? We want to be the kings of everything, the best at everything now, the best academy, the best individual development for players, the best recruiters, the best coaches.
I think that's Wes Bird's. I think that's Wes Bird's quote. I think that's a Wes Bird quote, an Arteta quote. But you know what you put there originally about collectively. What I loved, and I love this all the time, Sophie, is earlier in the comments when you asked Albert about man of the match and he said who got it, and you said Gabriel. There were loads of people there in the comments today going, I thought Zubamendi was, I thought Odegaard was, I thought Gabriel was, I thought Trossard was. I love that collectively it's a debate. I think that's when you have a game where for man of the match everybody is mentioning very amounts of names and not just one. I love when that happens. I love when that happens, because you then know that you've got a team here, and you've got a team that everybody is going, yeah, he done well for me. I love that. That's what I want more. I know we said last week about you want one main guy and then the cast that follows, and you mentioned with your films and what have you, and that's 100%. But at the same time as well, like that supporting cast And like you mentioned as well earlier, having everyone feel valued. I mean, again, Eze has to watch. Probably not feeling great at the moment, but there will be a time where you will be called upon, son, and you will be valued again. And that's an incredibly, we've had this discussion as well this season. That's an incredibly hard thing to do, to make every single person in your building feel important and feel valued, even when they're not, when they're not being called upon. That's a huge thing.
Yeah, it's the toughest thing. It really is. Currently, Arsenal are top, 5 points clear. City play on New Year's Day, I believe it is. Aston Villa brought back down to earth by the mighty Gunners in third with 39 points. Liverpool on 32, Chelsea on 30, Manchester United on 30, drew against Wolves this evening. The stats of the match: 19 shots for us, 9 for them, 7 on target, 2 for them, 48% possession for us, 52 for them, 358 passes for us, 406 for them. Pass accuracy 88% to the Gunners, 87 to the Villains. 16 fouls for us, 9 for them. 2 yellow cards for us, 3 for them. No red cards. 4 offsides for us, 1 for them. 3 corners each. Those are the stats of the game, and I'm sure there'll be more stats coming your way as you watch your favorite, listen to your favorite shows, and people dissecting and discussing this XG thing. Just stop it. I have to say it again. What's the score? 4-1. Arsenal won 4-1. Before we came on air, James was talking to me about this XG thing. And I said to him, James, save it for the squaddies. I don't care. It's 4-1. This isn't Minority Report, Where
I know. I really love XG. I mean, for my sins, I love my ESPN FC, and Craig Burley calls it times G, and they just laugh. He's like, "What is it?" He's like, "I don't." He's like, "Who cares?" He's like, "It's pointless." And I'm like, it's not. It's a really good metric. But then that's how I am. I'm that way inclined. You're like my dad and everything. He's old school. He's like, what's this XG crap? He's like, no. He's like, what was the score, son? I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it does. None of it matters. The scoreline matters. Did you win the game? Did you lose the game? Did you draw the game? That's all. Emery is blaming Mikel Arteta that he stormed off. Apparently, our manager was too busy celebrating. Make sure you hit the like button, of course. Salty.
Like I said, he was wheeling down the line when they won.
I love the saltiness. Put more salt on the Arsenal dish in front of you. Inject it.
Get the old urine in the saucepan.
It's
boil that piss, Mikel.
We got Bournemouth next. Then we've got Liverpool. The FA Cup comes around on the 11th. I think, this week we'll get into a little bit more about Eze and, why you think he may or may not be playing. Like James just said, I think Sophie, that his time will come.
People are talking about out of possession. I don't want to hear nothing about Nwaneri, sorry, because I got butchered for that, didn't I? Nwaneri's out of possession. Madweki's out of possession. Miles Lewis-Skelly's out of possession. And Eze's out of possession when Mikel Merino played like he did in that first half. I don't want to hear nobody say that none of them can play because of what they do off the ball after watching that Mikel Merino first half.
That's fair enough. I really think that the Chelsea Eze Odegaard experiment scared the bejesus out of Mikel, I think. And remember, when he sees things he doesn't like, he doesn't usually try them again. It's like, me and liver. I don't know how people can eat liver. I tried it once, can never have it again, and I won't. But let's hope that,
They used to do Walker's flavoured liver crisps back in the day that were nice. But yeah, to actually eat it myself, no.
Right. Wow, I forgot to plug in my computer. Another rookie mistake. I have 13% battery left. Do you think it will last through us saying your player of the match is, you said, Big Gabby?
Trossard.
Oh, Trossard. Right.
Got to be Trossard for me. Like I said, big game player and goal and an assist. I can't ask for more than that.
We are in agreement. My player of the match is Trossard. It is very close with Captain Fantastic and also Big Gabby as well. But for the overall game and performance and what he did, I think Trossard, is this a new haircut as well? Because it looks kind of, it looks cool. It looks very cool. A mark for the gaffer, everybody, before we leave you and love you. What's your mark for the gaffer, James? I thought today he was under the most pressure. He's the one that needed to step up the most. I think he got everything down to, he gets a 9.5 for me today.
Do you know what? I'll agree with you. Yep. Yeah.
Love it.
Like we mentioned, the whole world was waiting to bash him and bash all of us today.
Yes.
And again, they haven't got their day in the sun. So fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I think Patrick, good to see you. Come on, and 235. That is not a real score. 4.5 out of 10 because of late subs. No. That was a very pressurized game for the manager. We've played Liverpool, we've played Manchester City, we've played a North London derby. This game was Mikel's biggest game of the season, because had he lost a second match in the space of 3 weeks to Emery, like James said, you would have wanted one of those specialist spaceships I make to prepare for Pluto in moments like that. He was going to be absolutely killed. Arsenal were going to be nailed to the wall. The darts would have been coming one after the other. You wouldn't have known what would have hit you had we lost to Aston Villa today. Mikel stepped up big time and he managed all of that great. And I love how he's managing, he's giving confidence to Victor to keep going. He's giving the confidence for Jesus to come on and still make him feel important and have an impact. James said it, managing the players, egos. We don't seem to have too many. They all understand their role. They know who they want to be in this team. Players like Trossard, no new contract. We're going to give you a pay bump. My God, is he repaying Mikel's faith and the extra bump that he got, which he fully deserves. And, you get unsung heroes in this team as well. And there are a few of them, and they've all played a role this season. And what have we complained of in seasons past? You can't win a title with the same starting 11 week in, week out. And now through injuries, we're seeing different players come in, but they're performing for Mikel and they're getting results. And when you look at our record of late, it's pretty good. This was a massive, massive game, our biggest game of the season so far. And every single player, maybe barring Saka in the second half, especially rose to the occasion. And you know what? Even Saka earns a night off, but he's been having maybe a few 2 nights off.
Sophie as well, just quick, that double save by Raya, wasn't it?
Yeah, we didn't mention him.
We keep talking about
because we were winning 4-0.
the guy's reflexes. It's just insane.
Yeah, that was
absolutely insane.
That was a great save.
Gutted he spilled the ball at the end, but you know what? I'm like, this guy's incredible.
It was a brilliant save, and we're not really talking about it because we won the game so convincingly in the end. But again, he steps up big time, and like Doug says, just the usual Raya double save, taking it for granted. We don't take you for granted. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. I'd like to do something before the new year just so we can get together, have a huddle, talk a little bit about some extra stuff. So look out on the community page for the next live show. Squeeze one in before the 1st of January so we can have a good old-fashioned chat. Maybe we'll do a phone-in before maybe New Year's Eve phone-in or maybe tomorrow. I'll try and figure it out.
That or another one of your roundtables. That was fantastic with the guys that don't normally, guys and girls, that don't normally come on. That was a brilliant show.
I'm due a roundtable. It's just so hard coordinating some of the people to come on the show. But when we do a phone-in, it's organic and it's down to you. We'll put the link in the chat and you can have your say. You want to talk about the players that didn't play. You want to talk about Jesus. You want to talk about Victor, Mikel. The floor is yours. And then we can all choose our favorite films and have a bit of an award show, the Highbury Squad Awards. We could be awarding our own stuff to Arsenal players and maybe those around us as well. We could get stuck into that game too, James. Don't forget to follow James at LLCallJames91. Please go give him a follow, show him some love. Have your say in the YouTube comments as well. We read every single one. Don't forget to follow Albert, who popped in live from the Emirates as well. Our player of the match is Trossard. The gaffer gets a 10 out of 10. My battery is about to run out, a little bit like Declan Rice's did before the match, but we won regardless. Squaddies at ease. Don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Don't forget, if you're listening on Apple and Spotify, subscribe so you don't miss a show. Thank you as well for making us part of your day. Until next time, everyone, at ease, Squaddy.